Okay guys, so watching you guys learning to support yesterday, I realized that one of the frustrating things you have is that overhang angle requires a mesh. So we've written a new command. So overhang angle is still there for when you already have meshes, but if you don't have a mesh, like at the moment these are all just surfaces and poly surfaces, you can use overhang mesh, and it will create a mesh for you from this item. So it's doing a similar thing to what the Blender thing does, except that it's not using Blender at all. In fact, I think we'll be replacing Blender with this in a minute, because you'll see that it's significantly faster than Blender. Alright, so the idea behind it is when you run it, it should be able to fairly quickly give you back a mesh, which now is lying underneath your surfaces. So your surface is still there, but this mesh is sitting underneath it. So if you do want to do supporting, you can select the mesh to support on. So all your stuff will still snap to the mesh, and when you're done with the mesh, you can delete the mesh away, and you'll still be back at your surfaces. Alright. In terms of the general meshing tools, I think that I'm starting to really like this method of doing the meshing. As you saw, it's a lot faster than doing it in Blender. The mesh output is a lot more even. I'm not doing softening with it as yet, because its softening is really slow. Smoothing is what slows Blender down. But in our instance, the most important thing is to not have a bunch of loose solids hanging around the place, breaking, slicing. So this works really well. Okay, guys, I hope that helps the guys learning supporting to be able to get that mesh. So we'll run it again just quickly. So the command is overhang mesh. It'll be a new one together with this plugin. Select your item. The voxel size at the top is how fast you want to get it done. So if you're planning to put supports on very small parts and you need a lot of detail, leave it on 003, but you can go as low as 0.1, right? And you'll see that it does it even faster. Alright, so if your only intent was to do supporting with this, that's more than ample, alright, because you just need to know where you're putting your supports, and you can snap to that mesh quite easily. But as you can see, you can't really produce that mesh. It's decimated to death. Alright, so typically how you guys would be using that would be overhang mesh, and just leave it on that default of about 0.03 and press enter. It doesn't take long. Compared to Blender, it's maybe like 20 times faster or so. And it does a reasonable job. Okay, mainly if you decide that that this thing actually works faster for the guys to just generate the meshes, you can get them to use it instead of Blender. Alright, that coloring won't affect printing at all, it's just a mesh. Okay, thanks guys, cheers.